Coming to you from the beautiful University of South Florida campus in Tampa, it's USF Housing Live!
Welcome everyone. This is the 5th episode of USF Housing Live Season 6. I'm your host, Julia O'Hara, with Housing and Residential Education at the beautiful University of South Florida in Tampa. Housing and Residential Education is here to answer your questions as you prepare for your USF experience. If you're joining us live, type your questions in the comments and we will answer you on the show. Tonight's episode is all about the new student experience. This evening we will be speaking with a peer advisor leader from New Student Connections, followed by 2 USF students who will share their USF experience, advice to incoming students, and answer questions you may have. And later in the show, we will speak with leadership from Housing and Residential Education to answer all of your questions about housing. So without further ado, let's jump into our first interview. Our first guest this evening is a peer advisor leader, or Powell, with New Student Connections at USF, Ivey Soto. Hi, Ivey. How are you this evening?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start with you introducing yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what your major is, and what you do at USF.
Yeah, so my name is Ivey Soto. I'm a senior peer advisor leader with the Office of New Student Connections. I'm going into my 3rd year this year as an interdisciplinary social sciences major with concentrations in criminology and psychology, and I'm from Valrico, Florida.
Perfect. So let's talk about New Student Connections. What's the mission of New Student Connections?
So our mission at New Student Connections is basically to help every student, every family member, and anyone that comes into our office feel welcomed into USF. And we want them to feel like they're given the tools that they need to succeed during their time here. We do this by sharing different resources with them, different events, and different ways to get involved so that we can help foster a sense of home for everyone and everyone feels like they're part of the USF family.
That's awesome. What a great mission for the department and great things that you guys do. So what is your specific role as a PAL with New Student Connections?
So, like I said, I'm a senior peer advisor leader, and basically I do all the same things that the peer advisor leaders do, but a little bit more. So as peer advisor leaders, or PALs, our job is to outreach to students, just to check in on them and give them the resources that they need to help feel successful and prepared at USF. We like to call ourselves the plug, basically, because we like to connect students with the resources that they need as quickly as possible to help them stay on track and achieve their goals. So as a senior peer advisor leader, not only do I do this outreach to students, but I also supervise a small group of our PALs to ensure that they are prepared to help the students that they reach out to have great constructive conversations and accomplish their goals.
Awesome. So there's something that New Student Connections does called peer coaching. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So peer coaching basically includes reaching out to students by calling them, messaging them, and emailing them at key times of the semester, like at the beginning of the semester, during midterms, and around course registration time. We ask them about how their experience at USF has been so far. We also identify anything they want to work on in their personal daily lives, whether that be time management, ways to study, or just ways to get connected on campus while you're busy. So another piece of the outreach is the coaching aspect, where we meet with students in person to help them take any of their challenges or barriers that they might be experiencing and help them create their own action plan so that they're able to overcome those obstacles and feel like they personally accomplished something. We also refer students to different offices on campus to help them get the support they need to be successful. And while we're currently working remotely, we're still making every effort to reach out to students and make sure that they feel supported coming into their first year here at USF, especially during this time where everything is pretty uncertain.
Perfect. And it sounds like there are lots of different resources that you are providing to students. Can you tell us why a student should engage with New Student Connections? What are the benefits from it?
Yeah, so we like to say that New Student Connections is sort of like a one-stop shop for pretty much anything you might need coming into your first year and beyond, whether that be, like I said, academic support, resources, making new friends, or just talking to someone about a challenge that you might be having and finding a new perspective on how to go about solving that issue that you may not have thought of before. We take every effort to create an environment where students feel like they're supported and they're welcomed. Anytime they come in our office, we say hi to everyone that comes in and make sure that we help them as soon as possible. Or if they reach out to a PAL, they get a response so that they feel like they're being listened to and we are here to help them. And our hope is that through our different events and programs and our outreach to students, these students can feel prepared and confident enough to use the tools that we give them to create their own sense of community here and feel like they can overcome any obstacles they're facing on their own beyond.
Very cool. And what are ways New Student Connections help students who might be having a hard time getting connected on campus?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the biggest ways that we help students feel like they get connected is through the different events and programming that we do throughout the semester. So we host different events for all sorts of different student demographics. So like first-year students, international students, transfer students, just to make sure that everyone is given the opportunity to feel like they belong. So for example, last semester, we hosted an event called Transfer and Commuter Coffee, which is an event where transfer and commuter students can just come and chill and get coffee while they talk to some new people. We also have something cool called The Network, which connects students to different things on campus that might appeal to them. We have different categories of events based on student interests and hobbies that we've heard about, so students can feel comfortable connecting with others when they already know that they have at least one thing in common with them, which can often break that ice for them. Aside from that, we as PALs are also available to not only be resources to guide you to these things, but also as friends to be there for you and with you. Oftentimes, students will want to go to an event and they may tell their PAL, I really want to go to this event, but I'm not really sure who to go with and I don't really know where to go. If they reach out to their PAL and they just let them know, we can go with them to not only help them get connected with others at that event, but we can also connect with them on a personal level.
That's really cool. So you're able to make friends in the process while you're working with New Student Connections as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I learn something new every day.
So you talked about one event. Can you go into a little bit more detail about some other events and programs that New Student Connections sponsors throughout the year?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest events that we have every year is called Week of Welcome, or WOW, where we have basically a week's worth of activities and things to get people involved and excited for the beginning of the semester. And this is also connected to the first 50 days, where we always are posting things that are going on for the first 50 days of each semester. So this summer, we have a ton of virtual events that can be found on the Go Bulls Guide app in our student and family guide. Two things in particular that we have going on this summer are the hashtag How to College virtual chats and our hashtag Flash Forward Friday chats. These How to College virtual chats give students the opportunities to hear from some really great offices on campus, like the Center for Student Wellbeing, and they give them tips and tricks on how to set yourself up for success here at USF. And then the hashtag Flash Forward Friday chats are a really great way to meet other current students that have interests and identities similar to yours. For example, one of the ones that we hosted was the LGBTQ plus group, and a lot of people that were in the LGBTQ plus community and allies all came together and they got to know one another. One thing that we're doing this summer is our Summer Bee Welcome, which is actually on Monday, June 29th at 5:30. This is going to be a really great way for students to not only celebrate their accomplishments that they have achieved to get to where they are today, but they can also celebrate and have a great welcome into the university.
Very cool. Ivy, we do have a question from a viewer. Marcia is asking, is the assistance that you're talking about through New Student Connections only for first-year students, or is it available to any USF student?
I believe it's available to any USF student. We mostly work with first-year students, but if you are, say, a transfer student or you are in your second year and you just don't really know what to do, you can go ahead and fill out the BullSync form that we have available. If you go on Google and literally just search USF New Student Connections, you can find a way to get connected with a PAL, and you can just let them know that you're looking for some assistance and we can get connected with you.
Great. So you have talked a lot about different ways for a first-year student to get involved through New Student Connections. But in your opinion, this might be a hard question to answer, but what is the best way for a first-year student to get involved on campus?
Oh, man. So honestly, I remember when I was a first-year student, I came into USF. I had no friends. I didn't really know where I fit in. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I think the best way for me, for students to get involved is by just putting themselves out there and just go to events. When I was coming into my first year here at USF in 2018, wow, I'm old. My mom basically pushed me to go do anything and everything just so I had the option to make friends and talk to people. And giving yourself that option to make conversations and communicate with new people is going to be better than, sitting in the Marshall Student Center studying and wishing you had somebody to study with. So the way I see it, I'd much rather come back from an event and say, I gave it a shot, I made one new friend today, than say, man, I wish I had gone to that event because my friend is posting about it on Instagram and it looks so cool. So another thing that's really great is BullSync. BullSync is a really great tool that students can use to find things that they're interested in and pick events to go to. Through BullSync, you can also see all of the organizations that we have on campus, and everyone is bound to find at least one thing that they're interested in trying out. Here at USF, we have over 600 clubs and organizations on campus, so there are plenty of things to choose from. We as PALs are also great resources for giving that push to a student that they might need to just get out there and try something new. So if someone needs a friend to give them the encouragement that they need to go out and make some new connections, the PALs and New Student Connections definitely have your back. This summer, especially though, the Go Bulls Guide app is going to be your best friend when it comes to finding ways to get connected in this new virtual world that we're living in. So be sure to check out our student and family guide.
Wonderful. And so, Ivy, where would a viewer be able to find that that guide that you just mentioned?
It's going to be in the App Store on whatever device that you have. So if you just go to the App Store on, your iOS, Android, Samsung device, and just search the Go Bulls Guide app, it's going to be the first thing to pop up. Once you download it, you can log in and then create an account. And then you can just search Student and Family Guide, and it's going to pop up, and you can download it, and you can see all the different events that we have and add them to your own personal schedule.
Perfect. So the last question I have for you, Ivy, if a student or family member has questions for your department, who should they contact?
Great question. So if you have any questions about New Student Connections, you are more than welcome to call our main desk. The number is going to be 813-974-2896. You can go ahead and leave a voicemail, and then somebody will call you back. Or you can email us at newstudent@usf.edu. Our office is located in the Marshall Student Center on the 3rd floor in MSC 3200, and our website is usf.edu/newstudent. So if you want to get connected to a PAL or you want to find out about events going on, you can go ahead and click on that. You can also go to our Instagram page, which is at USF_NSC, where we post about everything going on as well as different tips and hints for students to be successful here. And if families want more resources on how to support their student and how they can get involved at USF, they can get connected through our Parent and Family Engagement Office at usf.edu/families.
Perfect. Thank you, Ivy. And quick clarification on that. You're all working remotely at the moment, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So the best way to get a hold of you all would be through phone or email at this time. And then the Marshall Student Center location, you'll have that hours of operation probably updated later on in the summer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Oh, actually, before we go, we have a question from an audience member that I just got in. Carrie is asking, with social distancing guidelines, how do you see a new student getting involved with these limitations, assuming that there will be events with limited attendance? So specific to New Student Connections, I guess the question would be, those events and programs that you mentioned, do you have any guidelines set in place or a protocol that you're planning on in relation to the CDC guidelines?
So at the moment, I don't have a direct answer for that, and I want to make sure that I get the most accurate information possible. So we can answer that question later, just so that's available.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll jump into the comments section, and Carrie will provide you an answer after the show. Okay, Ivy, thank you again so much for joining us this evening and sharing all these valuable resources. I hope you have a great night.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great night.
Thanks, Ivy. All right, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more USF Housing Live right after this.
Welcome to the Village. The Village is a residential community on the north side of the USF campus. The Village is comprised of 5 residence halls, a dining hall, and a fitness center. Will you be living in the Village? If your answer is yes, then you're living in either Beacon, Endeavor, Horizon, Pinnacle, or Summit. These residence halls offer both traditional and suite style rooms. If you're not living in any of these residence halls, then you're not living in the Village. You will be living somewhere else. All the residence halls in the Village have a lobby full of cozy seating options for you to study or hang out in. Plus, there are games such as table tennis, shuffleboard, or foosball. Invite your friends or neighbors for some friendly competition. But beware, bulls are naturally competitive creatures. If you're too competitive, the game might not end up so friendly. Being a friendly person is a much needed quality to make friends here at USF. The Hub is a dining hall located in the Village. Everything you could want is there, including a Mongolian grill. Also located in the Village is a BurgerFi and a Starbucks. Unlike the name suggests, you cannot pay with Starlight currency for your coffee. The Fit is a fitness center located right across Summit Hall, next to the Hub. Residents enjoy going to the Fit, well, to stay fit. There's even a resort-style zero-entry pool. Zero entry implies that you walk straight into the pool, not that you cannot enter. The only times you cannot enter is when the pool is closed. Residents can enjoy the Fit any time of the day, before class, in between classes, or at night. Again, as long as it's not closed. That would be trespassing. To learn more about the Village, visit usf.edu/housing. Get ready to live the Bull's life.
Welcome back. I'm Julia O'Hara, and if you're just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live, and we're here to help you prepare to live the Bull's life at USF. Ask us your questions in the comments, and we will answer you live on the show. Next, we're speaking with 2 current students at the University of South Florida, Amanda Elmen and Allison Sewart. Welcome, Amanda and Allison. How are you?
Hi. Hi. Good.
Great to see you both. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us this evening.
Thank you. Of course.
All right, so let's get started by having the 2 of you introduce yourselves for those watching. Can you tell us your names, years, majors, and hometown? We'll start with Allison if you want to go first.
Okay, I'm Allison Stewart, and this fall I will be a senior at USF. My major is health sciences, and my minor is deaf studies, and I'm from Dunedin, Florida.
Great. All right, Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm originally from Westchester, New York. I'm entering my 3rd year studying integrated PR and advertising, as well as a minor in art.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to start off with the questions here. I'm going to start with you, Amanda, and then throw it over to you, Allison, if you have anything to add. Amanda, what can a student expect in the transition from high school to college?
So personally, I'd say the biggest change going from high school to college is the new amount of freedom that you have. You get to kind of shape who you are, figure out what you want to do, but also at the same time, you have to be responsible for yourself, and there's not going to be people telling you to go to class or telling you to go to school. And it's really important to kind of figure out what freedom you want, how you want your future to look, and just act upon that.
That's a great point. Allison, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Amanda. When you begin college, you're very independent, so it's also really important to make sure you're making responsible decisions with your habits, especially your eating habits and your sleeping habits. That can be a difficult medium to figure out when you start college, so I think that's really important.
Absolutely. So Allison, what was the best way for you to keep in touch with your family and friends after you moved?
When I was walking around and I was in between classes, I would call my mom usually, or I would call my friends back home just to chat with them while I kind of had some downtime. And it's really important to make sure that you're keeping in touch with your friends back home. I found that a little difficult at first because I was really getting into my classes and being on campus and meeting people around campus. But near the end of my first semester, I realized that I really need to make it a priority to make sure that I'm still checking in with my friends at home. So I would definitely say just taking your downtime to make sure to call friends and family.
Great point. Amanda, anything to add to that?
Yeah, so when I walked to class in the morning was when I would mostly talk to my family because they would be up and most of my friends wouldn't. And then I just made sure that I set either weekly time or monthly time to talk to my friends, update my study habits and what's going on, and kind of just share our experiences because we were going into it together.
Great point. And so, Amanda, another question I have for you. What campus resources did you utilize to succeed academically?
So one of the main things that I used both in my first year and that I still use today is the Writing Center. A lot of my early classes, whether it was comp or advertising classes, offered extra credit for going. And it's a really great resource where they'll check your paper, read through it with you, and tell you maybe what you can improve or what would sound better structure-wise, grammar-wise. The other thing that I really took advantage of was the Career Center. It was really nice having someone who was experienced to look over my resume and also just give me advice on what steps I should be taking throughout my first year and beyond that.
Great. How about you, Allison? Have you taken advantage of any academic resources at USF?
I would definitely say to attend your professor's office hours. It's very intimidating at first, especially when you're a freshman, coming in and going to meet with your professor and when you're one of like 100 students in your class, but it's really not that intimidating. And once you go there, your teacher sees that you really are invested in your academics and you really care how you're doing in the class. So I would definitely say take advantage of those office hours.
Yeah, that's great advice. And Allison, you and Amanda are both student employees on campus. So let's start with you, Allison, on advice on how you found a job on campus and how others can do the same, and then we'll switch it over to Amanda.
So I was able to find my first job on campus on the USF job search, and this kind of helped me get into working for housing, and I was able to keep working and get more involved in my office, and then I was able to move up into my current position, which is a PR assistant now. And my job is actually how I've met a lot of my friends on campus. So having a job on campus is a great way to meet people. But using that USF job search doesn't just limit you to working for housing. You can work for the on-campus rec centers or dining. It opens you up to a lot of opportunities. And I would also say that reach out to your professors if they're teaching a class that you're interested in for research opportunities or different opportunities. Make sure you are using your professors as a resource.
Great advice. Amanda, how about you?
I would say utilize the USF job search. There's a lot of jobs that will pop up daily, so just keep checking if you don't find something that's exactly what you want to do. But also if you're living on campus, talk to your RAs. That's how I got involved on campus. I was in a job and I really wanted to do something graphic design related and ended up finding out that I could do that for the school. And there's so many opportunities if you have something that you like to do, especially art-wise or PR-wise. So just get involved.
Great. And so, Amanda, I know right now a lot of things are up in the air with classes. Some people are waiting on their online classes versus in-person classes to be announced. So can you tell us a little bit from your experience, what should a student know about online classes versus in-person classes, in your opinion?
So one of the main things that I'm missing out on in my classes, because they're very group related and it's a lot of teamwork and stuff like that, is being able to sit in a class and share ideas and pitches with other students. So I'd say, even though you're not seeing other kids face to face, send them a Canvas message or send them a message while you're on Blackboard, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You're going to have to find your new routine and find something that you've probably never done before. So don't be scared. Everyone is finding their own, and just be positive.
Great. That's great to know, too, that even with online classes, there are ways to get connected and meet new people. So thank you for sharing that. And Allison, how about you? Anything from your point of view to note with the difference between online and in person?
I agree with Amanda. Definitely utilize Canvas. As a health sciences student on Canvas, we have our own organization group, so we're able to kind of communicate with each other. And I would definitely take advantage of that, especially to find people that are in similar classes to you or have similar interests and you're wondering how you can get a little bit more involved on campus. Also, the biggest difference for me between online and in-person classes is being reminded of assignments that are due. So definitely on Canvas, utilize the calendar feature to know when upcoming assignments are, and just familiarize yourself with the syllabus at the beginning of the semester to kind of know what kind of projects to expect.
Absolutely. I know in my personal college experience, organization and planning, scheduling is key when you're switching from high school to college. So,
Yeah,
Allison, what are the easiest ways to meet new friends at USF?
So definitely taking advantage of the people that are in your classes, but sometimes it can be a little intimidating when you have 100+ people in your class. So the best way that I found to meet people was through my labs. I was able to befriend my lab partner in my lab groups, and we were able to create study groups for our lecture class, and that was super helpful for me as a freshman. I would also say if you're living on campus, utilize the people, like your living space, your pod area. There's a lot of different people there that a lot of them are usually first-year students. And also, I became best friends with my roommate, so I met a lot of people through her. So just be open to hanging out with new people. It is kind of scary at first, but it's a great opportunity.
Great advice. Amanda, anything to add about meeting new friends?
For sure. I think the most important thing is to honestly be bold. If you see someone that you want to be friends with, go up to them and talk to them. Especially in your first year classes, it might take you taking the first step to become friends with someone, but that could be your lifelong friend. Also, take advantage of the class groups on Facebook. That's how I met my best friend. She was looking for a roommate, and we ended up not living together then, but now we live together now, and we have more in common than anyone I've ever met.
That's cool. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you both a final question. Allison, we'll start with you. Of what word of advice would you share to new students? I know you probably have a lot, but the first thing that comes to mind.
I would definitely say take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you. It might take a lot of time out of your daily life, but being invested in something is a great way to stay involved on campus. So I would definitely say just take advantage of things that are presented to you.
Great. And Amanda?
I'd say it's okay to be alone. If you want to go to an event, make sure you go to it. If you want to go for a walk or go eat, it's okay to be alone. You don't always have to be with someone. And you'll really get to find yourself that way and make the most of your experiences.
Great advice. Well, thank you again to both of you so much for taking the time this evening to share your experiences and answer my questions. I hope you have a great night, and anyone that's watching tonight, if you do want to interact a little bit more with our students on our team, you can join the USF Class of 2024 Facebook group if you are an incoming student, and Allison and Amanda are there to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you both.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, next up, we will be speaking with leadership from USF Housing and Residential Education. Comment your questions and we'll answer you after this short break.
If you live on campus, chances are you will have a roommate. A roommate is another human sharing your living space. For many, this may be a new experience. If you are scared that you will soon have a roommate, remember this: to them, you are the roommate. Are you scared? Before you arrive, talk to your roommate. We recommend using mobile devices commonly called phones. Phones may be used to send and receive text messages. You can also speak into the microphone, and your roommate will hear you on their phone. Discuss things like who will bring a refrigerator, printer, decorations, microwave, eating utensils, plateware, capes. When you move in, you will meet your roommate. For some, this will be your first encounter in the physical world. Speak slowly and at a reasonable volume as to not frighten your new living companion. Your resident assistant will help you complete a roommate contract so you can live together in harmony. Harmony is a good thing. Get ready to live the Bulls life.
Welcome back. Finally this evening, we are speaking with Anna Hernandez, Assistant Vice President with Housing and Residential Education, and Dave Kloiber, the Associate Director for Operations and Outreach with Housing and Residential Education. Hi, Dave and Anna. Thanks again for joining us this evening.
Hello,
Hi,
Julie.
it's great to be with you.
All right. So the first thing that I wanted to ask, we do have some questions from the audience that we'll get to in a minute, but Anna, I was wondering, we did have a housing announcement that was posted today on the website and social media. For those that are watching that did not have a chance to read that update, would you be able to summarize that announcement for us?
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. As people may have been following, this week the Board of Governors approved the University of South Florida's reopening plan for the fall. And we know that students and their families have been anxious to get more detail. And so we have posted the full university plan online, and we encourage people to take a look at that. We also last week on the 10th, issued a housing addendum, and we know that that has caused a lot of questions that we've been trying to respond to. So we appreciate the feedback that we've received, and we want you to understand that we understand your concerns and that we're listening. And today we're trying to provide an explanation on our approach in order to help students make an informed decision, because that was our goal, is to be transparent so that students can make the best decision for themselves. So first, I think it's important for me to say that based on the information that we have available at this time, we fully expect that we're going to keep the residence halls open for the full fall and spring semesters. You may recall that when we transitioned to classes online this past spring, that USF campuses did not close and residence halls remained open for the students who needed to stay. And for the upcoming 2021 academic year, if the university transitions to all online classes, we intend to keep the residence halls open once again. In fact, we think that we're even better positioned than we were in the spring of 2020 to keep the residence halls open for the academic year. We have implemented enhanced cleaning protocols. We've made changes to the physical environment. We're launching a robust educational campaign with regard to social distancing and personal hygiene and wearing masks, et cetera. We've identified dedicated isolation spaces in case there's a need for students who may become sick on campus and they need to be isolated from their traditional residence hall that they've been assigned. And we have several other measures that were put into place to align with CDC guidelines to mitigate the spread. So we think that we're in really good shape to keep the residence halls open. We know more now than we did in the spring before a pandemic hit the United States. So I know that the other major question that has come up is about the addendum and the deadlines with regard to the need to cancel or the ability to cancel without any penalty. And so we shared with residents that they had until July 1 to cancel their housing agreement with no financial penalty. Now we know that classes may not be available and confirmed until the third week in July or the end of the third week in July. And so we understand that the class format, whether it's online or hybrid or face-to-face, may impact a student's decision as to whether or not they choose to live on campus or whether they stay at home. Therefore, we have indicated, and we've announced on the posting today, that we're going to waive the $1,000 cancellation fee for anyone who finds out after July 1 that all of their classes for the fall semester will be online. So students who find out that all of their classes are online after July 1 and therefore decide that they're not going to live on campus, we want those students to have the option to submit a cancellation request, whether that's on the housing portal on the Tampa campus or via the cancellation form on the St. Petersburg campus. And they would do that by August 1 and indicate on their cancellation form all online classes as their reason. And then we'll go ahead and waive the $1,000 cancellation fee. But we want to encourage students to give careful consideration to all of the other aspects of the addendum before July 1, because We want students to make informed decisions that if it is that they decide to stay on campus, then they're understanding and they agree to all of the other aspects with regard to some of the limitations that we're going to need to put into place in order to create a safer environment. But if it is that that one trigger of the decision point is whether the classes are online or not, then we're giving that extra month to make those decisions. So we want to provide that additional flexibility and provide some updated information in order to help students make the best decision that works for them and their family. We certainly hope that students choose to live on campus. We're excited to welcome them back. We believe in the value of the residential experience. We are ready to support their academic success and their student success and hope that they choose to be part of our community. But we want to provide that flexibility for students in some of these uncertain times that we have. So we're here to answer additional questions, not only in Housing Live, but also via our email and or our Facebook pages. So I just wanted to have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the addendum, because I know that there's been a lot of conversation about that recently.
Perfect. Thank you for that update, Anna. And for those that are watching, if you hadn't had a chance to review the addendum, it was emailed to residents, but it's also listed on our website. In addition to the addendum, we've also developed a frequently asked questions list that's listed on our website as well. And the update that Anna just provided is on our website as well. So you'll find all of that valuable information there. So thank you again, Anna. So before we jump into some questions specifically about move-in, is what we're seeing a lot of questions about right now, I did want to get an update from Dave about housing availability, and if you could give an update on room selection as well and when the deadline to select a room is.
Sure. Thank you, Julia. We still have, at this time, if you logged in at this moment, you'd see about 380 beds that are available, depending on your gender. And we have already assigned over 5,000 students. And so we are still a vibrant community. But room selection is coming to a close very soon. We have, today's the 24th, so we have 6 more days and about 5 more hours until room selection closes for the fall semester. And then after that point, if you're not assigned, we're going to be reaching out to you in the next day or so to remind you of this information, but also to ask that if you're not going to assign yourself, then we're going to need some preferences so that we can get you assigned as early as we can in July, because we want to make sure that as many of our students that want housing get housing. And so it's really important to us to get you completed in that process so that we can begin your path to success here at USF.
Perfect. So for clarification on that, Dave, if a student is ready to be assigned and they haven't selected a room yet, once June 30th passes, if they don't provide their preferences, will we be assigning them a room on their behalf?
Yes, we would be assigning them a room on their behalf, but what we'll try to do is work from what is typically our least expensive option forward, so that we're not giving them maybe sticker shock if, let's say, we assign them to a room that they weren't prepared to pay for budgetarily. And so we'll begin with our traditional rooms in Beta and Castor, and then work our way out toward our more expensive rooms, let's say in apartments and then in the village.
Okay, so the best word of advice would be for students to get on the housing portal and make their selection, or preferences if it's after June 30th.
We also have a bunch of different options still available at this time. We have singles and apartments, we have suite style, we have traditional style. They're in a wide range of buildings, and so now is the time. We just opened up about 400 or 500 rooms over the last 4 or 5 days, and so there are some great options out there that maybe weren't around a couple of weeks ago.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's get into some questions from the audience. The first question is from Becky. Becky says, I understand that the students will be able to sign up for a move-in slot in mid-July. Can there be any consideration given to those of us that need a time locked in sooner than mid-July so that we can make advanced travel arrangements? So, Anna, do you want to take that question?
Sure. We know that the move-in process is going to be a complex multi-day process, similar to, but hopefully not as complicated as the move-out process. What I can share with the listeners right now is that we're anticipating that we will have move-in time slots that will be available from August 16th through August 23rd. And so traditionally we have had August 20th, which is actually the start of our contract, and it has been a grand opening event. We know that that is not going to be possible in a socially distancing scenario and world that we're currently living in. And so the move-in time periods will be similar, but not identical to how it is that we handle the move out process. There will be a limited number of students in the morning, a limited number of students in the afternoon per building, but there will be hundreds of time slots that are available each of those days. We are not prepared right now to issue what the time slots are exactly because we're working through a lot of details with regard to that move-in process. But we are happy to work with individual cases as needed if there are some sort of special circumstances that need to be addressed. And what we would ask is just that communication stay fluid and that you provide some specifics when you email housing@usf.edu. And I know that some parents and families have already done that, and we weren't ready to respond to that yet. But we will try to track that and accommodate those people that contact us in advance so that we're able to work with special circumstances. We understand it's complicated coming from out of state, out of the country, out of the area, and we want to help students make as smooth a transition as we possibly can.
Perfect. So that answers a question from Christy. I just want to point that out, that Christy is in a special circumstance where she already has the time off of work based on that August 20th date. So asking if we're able to work with them on their move-in time slot, that would be a yes. So also-
It would be a yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, but I would ask, because this is a broadcast, that not every circumstance is a special circumstance. And if you can help us by just being a little bit patient so that we can get the systems in place so that we have the ability to use the systems to make this a more efficient process. But certainly we understand that there are individual circumstances.
Perfect. So we do have a question from Kathy. Kathy's asking, will the late fee be waived if not all of your classes are online?
So the cancellation fee will be waived if all of the classes are online. So if there is still one class that is online, then that is not something that would be eligible for the waiver of that $1,000 cancellation fee.
Okay. And Elisa is asking, how many people will be permitted to help students move in?
We're still working. Sure. Actually, Julia, you can answer that one.
That's true. I do know that one. 2 people will be permitted to help students move in. That's what was determined in our logistics meeting earlier this week, correct?
That is correct. And for those who are reading the addendum very closely, they understand that there is a guest and visitor policy that will be in place that would not permit people from visiting an individual residence hall during the year that didn't live in that residence hall. But we do want to let you know that we understand that there is assistance that is needed with the move-in process. And so for those 2 individuals who are designated to help the student move in, we will be lifting that requirement for that specific time slot.
Great. And Anna, here's another question for you. We have questions from both Kathy and Sarah asking specifically, or Lynn and Sarah rather, asking specifically about move-in details and when they will be released. I know that we talked about mid-July having those time slots being available. Is that going to be the timeline you anticipate for having full move-in details available to the best of our knowledge?
We are trying to release some of the framework earlier than that, but I do believe that mid-July is probably when we will have a robust description of what the move-in process is that we've put together. But if there are specific questions, again, that they have a need to know immediately, we'll try to answer the questions the best we can through our housing.usf.edu.
Great. And Dave, I have a question from Maluska asking about a capacity in the residence halls this fall. Will we be reducing capacity in the residence halls?
We are planning to open up our residence halls at the design capacity, and so we will have some spaces set aside for isolation, as Anna indicated earlier. But at this time, we are looking to open up our buildings at their design capacity.
Great.
And for those folks who may not be familiar with what design capacity means, I just wanted to because I had to explain this to several folks around campus as well, is a design capacity means that if a room is designed as a double, then a student would be permitted to have a roommate, will likely have a roommate. If it's designed to be a single, then they would have that room to themselves.
Correct.
Perfect. Well, we have actually gotten through all of the questions from the audience as of right now. So if anyone is still watching and has a question, feel free to comment, and we'll work to answer your question later in the comments on the show. But for now, that's all we had for you both. So I want to thank you again so much for taking the time out of your evenings to provide some updates and information for those watching.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Julia. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls. Thank you both. Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
If you have any other questions about living on campus at USF, please email us at housing@usf.edu. Before we go, I want to let our viewers know we will be taking a break next week, but we'll be back with another episode of Housing Live on Wednesday, July 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can watch on our Facebook or YouTube page, the USF Class of 2024 Facebook group, or the USF Parent and Family Engagement Facebook page. USF Housing Live is produced by Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Our motto is best place to live, best place to work, and best place to learn. Thank you to tonight's guests, Ivey Soto, Amanda Elmen, Allison Sewart, Anna Hernandez, and Dave Kloiber for joining me this evening. Thank you to our production crew, to you, our viewers, and of course, there's always just one last thing. Go Bulls! Good night, everyone.